Welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews. So, today we're going to carry on with the best albums of the year, and we're up to 2013. So we're getting there, and we're nearly done on the years. So, this is a okay year. It wasn't. I think 2012 was a bit of a freak year with good releases. But there's some good ones here. Not so many. Quite a few honourable mentions. But didn't quite make it up, to the top albums for me. So I've got six I want to talk about, and there's, like I said, there's a few honourable mentions to do at the end as well. So a little bit of variation again. There's some great returns from some bands, some 80s bands. There's a lot of newer stuff as well. There's a bit of grungy stuff, still call them grunge I suppose, coming back with a good album. It's a real mixture, so that's good. That is really good. So we're going to go from 6 to 1. Remember, these are my favourite albums of that year, so all 6 of these are great, but I've got to go least favourite to favourite. So number 6, Wet, Rise Up. So they was in my best albums a few years before with their debut album. This is their sophomore effort, and this is like another one of those super groups that Frontiers have got together. Jeff Scott Soto, Eric Martinson out of Eclipse, proper, so talented guys getting together. And it was obviously going to be, a match made in heaven with this. But this didn't quite live up to the debut for me. But it was still a really strong album. Maybe even a little bit heavier than the original, than the first album. But great tracks on here: Walk Away, Learn to Live Again, Love Heals. Proper AOR melodic heavy rock, if you like. Not quite as heavy as Eclipse, but if you like your 80s stuff, this is it. And I'd give this 7 out of 10. Well, my number 5. This is where I say I'm varying the music styles a lot. So Avenged Sevenfold, Hail to the King. This is my number 5. So this was a really good album as well. This quickly, for some reason though, didn't stick to me as much as Nightmare did, which was the album before. This took a bit of stick for being a bit too polished, but I think it's a brilliant production on this. So heavy, so clear, and that sounds sometimes how you want it to be. You want to hear every instrument, and this is exactly what this album did. Like I said, they didn't quite hit the heights for me for Nightmare though. I think Nightmare was a little bit more progressive. This one's a lot more straightforward. I think Nightmare just had that excellent balance where it was really listenable and catchy, but not, but it wasn't too basic. So I think they took stick on this one because they really wore the influences on their sleeve. Before this, Metallica and Maiden, and they're big influences to the band, and why not? They're great bands. But on this album, there's a few songs that literally sounded not a copy, but it was almost like they stole riffs off the bands. But I think they probably know that themselves. You couldn't get away from that fact if you hear these songs. For instance, Coming Home, Maiden written all over it. This Means War, Metallica written all over it. Sad But True. I think there's been a mashup of Sad But True in this song. It's so similar, but great songs. I love both of the songs. But obviously, they love these classic metal bands, and why not? Some of the really good songs in here: Hail to the King, another Metallica type sounding song. Shepherd of Fire, Crimson Days, a great slow track, and I love it when Avenged Sevenfold do a slow track. They do them brilliantly. Right, and I give that also 7 out of 10. Right, number 4. We was talking about 80s bands coming back in a big way. This is Queensryche and the Queensryche album. So this is the debut from Todd La Torre. Obviously Jeff Tate, it was a massive bust up that I don't really want to get into now, but it wasn't nice. Queensryche managed to keep the names. The Queen, there was 2 albums out, I think it might have been this year, where Jeff Tate brought a Queensryche album out and the rest of the band brought a Queensryche album out. Since Todd La Torre has been in the band, I've been a massive fan. I was a massive fan of Jeff Tate as well back in the day. But if you want old Queensryche sounding, this is it. This is it, and that's what everyone's been asking for, and this is what you get with Todd La Torre back in the band. This is probably the weakest album from the Todd La Torre era, without a doubt. It's like they're finding their feet. It's like a glimpse of what's to come. The album's a little bit short, just over half an hour long, I think, so you're wanting more on this. But the songwriting department as well, they definitely struck that on the next album. Not this one so much, but it was definitely a step towards what they were. Where Dreams Go to Die, brilliant track. In This Light, Open Road, closing it off. Really good album, just a bit short. Could have, obviously To Come was much better. I'll give it 7 out of 10. So, my number 3, Stone Sour, House of Golden Bones Part 2. Now, this is where I'm pissed off, because House of Golden Bones 1 came out last year and I missed it off my list. So, one of the best albums that came out last year, without a doubt, and I'm really pissed off that I didn't mention it. We missed stuff, so just let me, just mention that would have definitely been in my top albums from last year, right up there as well. A 9 out of 10 album for me. But now we're going to talk about House of Golden Bones Part 2. Stone Sour is Corey Taylor's finest moment for me. I like some Slipknot songs, don't like them all. With Stone Sour, the majority of them I love. I just love his singing voice. I think he's got a great voice. Not so much into the extreme stuff. So, Part 2, got some brilliant songs. And obviously it's Part 2 of this House of Golden Bones thing. And it's got a real certain sound to it, different than really the other Stone Sour albums. It's a lot more serious, I think it seems. Sort of more epic songwriting, some real good songs come up on both of these albums. But Part 2 is not quite as good as 1 in my opinion. But some standout tracks: A Sadist, Peckinpah, Stalemate, 82 is a really good track. So this is, I would recommend anyone who hasn't, maybe be put off by Slipknot, who's not into Slipknot, thinking that Stone Sour are the same sort of band, get the House of Golden Bones 1 and 2. Excellent, you'll love them. If you love your metal, heavy, there's the odd bit of screaming or shouting that Corey Taylor does, but it's no way on the level of Slipknot. Really good albums, both of them. That was my number 3. I'll give that 8 out of 10. My number 2, Alice in Chains, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. This is an outstanding album, and is probably the one that the Alice in Chains fans probably rate the lowest, from what I've read, out of the last, I think, 3 now. You've got Black Gig, White Blue, Devil Put Dinosaurs, Urania Fog. I think this is the one that, people rate the lowest. Don't know why. I think it's a great album, and that's why it's my number 2. I think that for the people that have, you can understand people like, because of Lane Staley dying and not wanting to get into Alice in Chains afterwards. I know a lot of fans, they've got that commitment towards a certain member of the band, but really you're missing out. I'm not saying that William DuVall has got a stronger voice as Lane Staley, no way. But what they do is the band use their strengths to the best they can do, and Jerry's a great singer, and with him and William DuVall, and he's really improved William DuVall. I saw them years and years ago, and William DuVall was playing with him on the solo stuff, the Jerry Cantrell solo stuff. And I caught him live. Singing from William DuVall was a little bit dodgy on the Lane Staley stuff, because they did a few Alice in Chains songs. But what I've heard lately is completely different. I think he's really good in the band. I've got no problem with the band, with the new lineup. I think it's great. And yet again, if you're just one of these people that can't get through the fact that there's a new singer there, you're missing out, in my opinion. You really are. And I'll give The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here 9 out of 10 because of some of the tracks on here. Just mention one other thing as well. Apart from the tracks that are really popular, Hollow, Stone, this has got 3 tracks in the middle of this album that I absolutely love, one after the other. Probably the underrated songs, probably the more overlooked ones, the deeper cuts if you like. Low Ceiling, Breath on the Window and Scalpel are some of the best stuff they've done lately. I love those three tracks together, and that's my favourite part of the album. Absolutely brilliant. 9 out of 10 on this album. Right, my number one. So it might be a bit controversial, I don't really give a fuck really, but this is a band I love. I've loved them since the 80s, and you're probably going to get some fucking eyes turning their head and fucking rolling. I don't care. They are so good, and this is Stryper and their return. No hell, no more hell to pay. I could not believe this album when I heard it. It's like you've been transported back to Soldiers Under Command, but you know, that sort of era with that intricate guitar playing that they've always been fucking brilliant at. There's some great songs on this that could have just been on those early 80s albums that I loved as well. If not, fuck, it's even better. It's even better. How can a band, I rave about this band, how can they be better now than they was back then when they were so young? You know, they've kept, Michael Sweets kept his voice, you know, better than any singer I know really. He's a great singer. Weird cat coming again. But, come on, I'm a lap. Sorry. But kicking off with Revelation, that just, like I said, could have been straight out of one of their old albums. No More Hell to Pay, especially. It's got that real cool guitar riff that is a Soldiers Under Command album riff, without a doubt. You got the one slow song, really reminds me of First Love, that sort of, not just a ballad, but a real kicking rock ass ballad. Excellent. Legacy, brilliant song. Marching Into Battle, where you want to get a bit heavier with Stryper, and then Sympathy as well. Great song, great album, full of great songs from top to bottom. 9.5 out of 10. You know, I think I didn't give it a full mark. Sometimes I think they do the medium-paced songs that be a little bit better. I think there's a couple of fast ones on here, which I love, but they're not 10 out of 10 songs. I think that's just why I dropped the mark a little bit. Mind you, they had better to come still, so what a great return to form by Stryper. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now that's it. Apart from my honourable mentions, which I'm just going to quickly wade through. I'm not going to spend too much time on them, just mention them by name. Pretty Maids, Motherland. They're bringing consistent albums out. Not, for me, not as good as their 80s stuff, but still really good. Avantasia, The Mystery of Time. Didn't quite make it on here, onto my top albums, although it's a really strong album. I think with the thing with Avantasia, for me, it's like 2/3 of their albums, for me, are really good, and then a third I can take or leave. You know, the more sort of musical stuff. Weird cat, sorry. You've got Black Sabbath 13 with Ozzy coming back. I actually really got into this album when it came out. It's like the really old stuff in it. It's like, especially like the first album, but with a modern production. I thought this was a really good effort from the guys, but I've always been a Dio Sabbath fan, I'm afraid. But I like some Ozzy stuff, you know, some of the solo stuff, and I like some of the Black Sabbath stuff as well. But I don't know, I just prefer it with Dio, and I know that they created, between Ozzy and Tony Iommi, basically created metal. But you like what you like. I do like it, but it never comes up top for me. Also, Magnus Coulson, Primal Fear, brought 3 full album out, solo album with loads of guest appearances on, and really good performances there. FM, AOR band, they brought out Rockville 1 and 2, and you know what you get with these. Like I said before, AOR bands, don't stop it. AOR bands, you got to do it right. If they do it right, they're great, and this is one of them. FM are a great band. Just didn't quite make it into my top albums, but still strong, really strong. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening to my 2013 ranking of the albums. Let me know if I've missed anything. Tell me what your favourite album is, favourite albums. Let me know anything I might have missed that I love, and I can do a reaction as well. Alright, that'd be cool. Please subscribe. Red button, bottom right hand corner. Cheers.